Welcome, everyone, to the Freaking Awesome Podcast. This is our first day of FAPtober. We're going to be celebrating all things horror film related over the month of October with this as our first episode. This is pre-recorded and coming back to you, so if the audio quality is a little off, it is because this was from a live episode with our special guest, Eileen Dietz from The Exorcist.
Yeah, man. Let's kill that bass head. Alright, let's do this. I'm on the air, we got this pockets flow. It's me and Tony on the mics, we gotta let you know of current events, little gaming, sprinkle in some entertainment. We stay humble, but our moms still think we're famous. Turn up the bass and baby, maybe let that magic flow. Our spoken word is all the things you really wanna know. Having a good time on the show, T-Bows and Matty G. Tune in and hit subscribe and join us on the FAPtober.
So welcome, everybody, to the Freaking Awesome Podcast. I am your host, Anthony Bowes, and, of course, sitting next to me is...
Matty G!
Hey, look at that. You actually get to introduce yourself for the first time. Of
you
course...
you have a Matt Damon thing going for you.
Oh,
He does.
Thank
He's,
you.
Or maybe it's Leo DiCaprio. Somebody like that.
Either way, I think
I
the
get that
key
once
word
in a
is,
while.
yeah, you're going with sexy. That's the word.
Cute,
Yeah.
cute, and sexy.
Well, thank you.
There you
I
go.
appreciate that.
We'll
See,
see
this is the best part about doing the video part of the podcast.
Right? You can actually get all these compliments with the fact that you've got your beautiful ring light cherub look. It looks like you're ready to just get makeup up for the stage.
Well, thank you. You guys flattered me.
We just used to all do these things on audio on a phone call.
Yes, it's true.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's what we're used to. This is the first time we've done the video side, so we're really happy that you're here with us
Yeah.
to kick off our first video live.
Our first,
Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah,
you are a
yeah.
first
Wow.
live feed, and on top of that is, of course, our first day of FAPtober, where we are celebrating the month of
Yeah.
October with, of course, wonderful guests such as yourself that have been in the spooky horror genre films. Not to mention a lot of the other ones, but you, of course, Eileen, have been in so many, including The Exorcist, Halloween 2, Creepshow 3. I actually just watched you in The Ascent the other day. And, of course, you have
Good.
you also have an upcoming film, or I think it just was released, was the 100 Acres of Hell, one of the newer ones.
Yeah.
And,
That was actually released about 6 months ago, but it's new.
yeah, I was going to say, I think it's only hitting a lot of the other streaming sites just now, though, or maybe it's just getting up our way.
Watch it?
I have not had a chance yet,
Did you
but
watch it?
I'm looking forward to watching it over the Halloween month. I was reading the premises behind it. It looks really good.
It is.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Tony and I are both horror buffs, so
Yeah, it's always
I can be one of those guests that just answer everything in 3 words.
Well, we got to be careful, you'd said, or you're going to take over on things.
I will.
Excellent. Well, before we get on with our show, Matty G, how about we grace our listeners / viewers with, of course, one of our funny articles from around the world. Eileen,
let's
you can
kick it off.
feel free to jump in and tell us your thoughts on these as we go through.
Okay.
So these are completely true. We do fact check them, and but you wouldn't think they were.
Some of them are
so the
outlandish.
article reads: Cops searching for chipmunk bandit. Was it Chip or Dale who held up a Louisiana pharmacy at gunpoint? Authorities from Evangeline Parish Sheriff's Office don't care what his name is, but they're hoping to catch the rodent thief soon. According to news outlet KLFY, an unnamed man in a chipmunk suit allegedly robbed the medicine chest pharmacy in Ville Platte, Los Angeles last week.
Where was is it in LA? Where?
Ville Platte.
Oh, Bill Platt?
Ville Platte.
I don't know.
Small town, I think. But
Very small town.
Yeah. Sheriff Charles Guillory told the news outlet that security footage showed the armed suspect darting from the pharmacy's parking lot to the rear entrance of the store while forcing an employee back inside. Once inside the store, the furry suspect reportedly forced the employee through the store as she was ordered at gunpoint to fill a bag with unknown amount of medication. Guillory said that the chipmunk then walked out the back door and ran towards a nearby apartment complex. The suspect is still on the lam. It's unknown whether he's hiding out in nearby trees, but cops would like to catch him soon.
Oh wow. That's right up there with the alligator one where, just calling to rodent bandits or animals that are now taking the news. COVID is definitely
just like,
why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you could just I guess at one point, we got to give him props for wearing his mask inside a social area.
That's really funny.
Oh, that's funny. I like that. That's really funny.
All right, we're going to throw my news on now. Honestly, when I read this news article, I was somewhere caught between power laughing and disgusted all at the same time. So this article, the headline was, police seize 345,000 used condoms that were sold as new.
I read that.
Yes.
That's
basically,
not right.
Yeah, I know, right? So police in Vietnam have confiscated.
Melt them down to tires and into tires and call it a good year.
There you go.
Is it better to wear a used condom than not wearing one at all?
Oh, that is a
global
good
warming,
question.
We gotta recycle, people.
Right. Well, the story behind
assuming it doesn't have any holes in it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So the basically police said that there was, I should say this was basically found in a warehouse of the South province of Binh Duan in Vietnam. The police had said the bags weighed more than 360 kilograms. So that's about 794 pounds. The equivalent of 345,000 condoms. The owner of the warehouse said that they had received a monthly input of used condoms from an unknown person. They state to the newspaper that the woman detained had told them that the prophylactics were first boiled in water, then dried, and then reshaped on wooden phalluses before being repackaged and resold. It said it wasn't clear how many of the recycled condoms had already been sold, but that the detained woman had received 17 cents for every kilogram of used recycled condoms she produced. Now, I was thinking of the math on that, and to basically wash, clean, repackage, and sell 345,000 condoms, she's only making $61.
And she has carpal tunnel.
She has what? She has what?
Carpal tunnel. From all
Yeah, I gotta tell you, these are the scary stories. Being nowadays, I mean, first of all, you received a whole bunch of used condoms from an unnamed individual. Now, is it all coming from this one individual, or are they going around and dumpster diving for used condoms? This, first of all, there's a whole back end to this gross job that we don't even know about.
And did she pay for them?
Right?
Did people find the condoms, sell them to her, and then she didn't make any money after all that work?
Right?
She's a reseller.
Yeah. Oh, I could just see
that's
that.
Just a wild story, man.
Yeah, I think that's got to go up there with one of the worst
all
jobs.
That work and not make any money. That's a shame.
Right?
$61 worth.
$61.
Is $61 worth more in Vietnam than it's worth here?
I hope so.
I really hope so as well, because let's look at the cost of water, the materials to repackage, the employees' time to do it. There's no way they're making money. There's no way they could be breaking even on this job.
Dude, I'm gonna call you tonight at 3 a.m. and be like, "You want to make $61?"
What's our timeline like? All right,
Hey,
Maddie.
I just hope people are using condoms.
Yeah. We're gonna find out, right?
I
Like
know that.
next year's gonna be like an all-time high a birth record, I bet.
Yeah, and divorces.
Yeah.
That's right up there. It is.
That's happening now, that people are getting divorced.
Yes.
They realize spending that much time with someone is not what they want. It's like, I don't think this is going to work. Life is too short.
It's
figured that out.
Yeah. It's a real testament to your
because,
relationship.
I mean, I've never spent this much time with my husband. I mean, I'm out doing horror conventions or shooting films or going to see my manager. I've never spent this much time with my husband, and it's different.
Yeah. I think you're supposed to be saying, and I love him more and more every moment.
Oh, I do. He just walked into the room. And
and I've never spent this much time with you.
And he never spent much time with me.
There's the door, honey.
He just said, there's the door.
He's like, did you describe it as different? I'll take it.
Yep, I'll take it.
No, we live in an old monastery, and we always say we stay together because of the house. Not because of the kids, but because of the house. Because it's so beautiful here, and we're really so very, very lucky, and we'd never get a deal like this anywhere else, except for $1 trillion. So we stay together for the house because neither one of us is leaving. So deal with it.
Hopefully it's that you both love the house and not because you couldn't find a place.
Oh, yeah. No, we've been together over 30 years. There must be something going right.
Yep.
Amazing. Congratulations. That's huge.
Is that because...
these days, that's awesome.
I was going to say, that isn't just because like he gets to watch you die over and over in movies or something, is it?
That's a good point.
He doesn't watch half my movies. I don't know why. Well, I don't watch them either.
Yeah.
Like Linda Thompson once said that she didn't want to watch herself grow old on screen. And it's really true. I still think I look like I did in General Hospital, and I'm always surprised to find out that I don't.
Well, we think you look great.
Yes, it's true.
Well, the lighting is great here. You can't see any wrinkles or anything.
Matt's got a filter for that.
Amazing. I'm not using a filter.
No.
You want to see my pores, Tony?
I know, I'm just joking. That's what you get for having one of those really 4K high-def cameras. That's why.
It's weird, man. It's my family genetics. I still get carded at the beer store.
It's true. That's actually happened to me a couple times, believe it or not. So, that boyish good looks.
You ready for the second article?
Yeah, let's lay it on us there, Maddie.
All right, here we go.
But that's the third article, right?
His second
my
article.
second.
Yes. Yep.
The third, yeah.
Got to be accurate here.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be fact checking.
That's
right.
right.
I like it. It. Keep me on my toes. New York City bans pooping on buses and subways. Apparently
there was no rule for this
before.
Yes. I was like, are people really doing this?
Holy shit.
Holy shit is right.
Yep.
Holy shit.
I know.
So the article reads, when you gotta go, but not on the New York City transit system. They frown upon that. So much that the Metropolitan Transportation Authority in New York has formally banned people from defecating themselves on its subways and buses. Wow, themselves. So, don't poop yourself, I guess. While relieving your bodily fluids is banned under its current rules, anyone caught doing so faces a $100 fine. The policy was amended to add defecating to the list, barred of bodily waste. So before you weren't allowed to pee yourself.
Oh.
So,
well, I've always wondered, actually, getting a little serious right now, because we have a huge homeless problem here.
Yeah.
Where do they defecate? Where do they pee?
Well,
It's
exactly.
horrible. And they both LA and New York and anywhere else, probably Chicago and stuff like that. They should put the money into getting outhouses or whatever
Public
they call
restrooms.
those things.
Yeah. Outhouses is perfect.
Yep, that's a great idea.
poop place.
Right? Or have a toilet car.
No. I like yours. Poop Palace.
Poop Palace. Yeah. No, I mean,
and they have other names for them. Like sometimes at sporting events or on construction sites and stuff like that.
Yep.
No, I'm serious though.
Yeah.
They have to build places because I've heard people like in West Hollywood, the big homeless population used to be under the freeways, and they got them out. They're everywhere. They're just everywhere in their tents. And people in West Hollywood, they're right by residential sections, and they're pooping.
Yeah.
So
now
nobody gets on the subway here. So nobody takes the subway, so you don't have to worry about pooping in the subway.
That's why the subway's
where
used.
The locations were, because the grass was always just a little longer.
No, it's really funny actually, because when I lived in Toronto, every once in a while there'd be a train breakdown or something, and suddenly you realize you had to go to the bathroom. And I'm one of those people, I really despise public bathrooms just for the fact that you walk in and it's a mess. But I remember I was just like, no, I'm gonna have to go to one of these public bathrooms. And I went in, and there was a homeless person sleeping, and I actually felt bad enough that I left. Like, I was just like, no, you need a place to sleep. You go ahead. But I was just like, I gotta find another place to be now. So, yeah, you know what?
I agree with you about public bathrooms.
Yeah.
But you have to, sometimes you just gotta go.
When you gotta go.
You gotta go.
Yep. Exactly.
At least they're there.
Yeah.
Good point.
I think if anything, they should install on the very last car, a seat that has the bottom cut out of it, because if you really have to go, just go to the back car. It just drops farther back on the track.
Hey,
that'll work.
Yeah.
Here's a fun question. If you could describe a public restroom using only one word, which word would you pick?
Ugh.
Good. Tony?
That's exactly how I feel about the boot as well. I would call
what?
the boot, the Ugg boot. I find that they're crap anyways. So
that must be a Canadian word.
Tony's very punny.
Yeah.
Very punny
Yeah,
guy.
but a boot must be a Canadian word. I don't know
A
what
boot?
you're talking about.
Oh, have you ever heard of Uggs?
Burn.
It's not a boot that you wear in your feet, is it?
Yes.
That's what he was
like
talking about.
like a shoe, an Ugg. Yeah.
Oh, so put it in that sentence again. What?
I was just saying that when you had said name a bathroom, and in one word, and you said Ugg, I said that's how I feel about the shoes as well, the boots.
Oh, I get it. I'm a little slow on the uptake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
It took
I
me a
can
minute
say
too.
two words. I
Yeah.
can say thank God.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like thank God.
Yeah.
I think my
Anyway.
word would be wet.
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 Wet. They're
Every
always
time
wet.
I enter a public bathroom, it's always wet.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I think I don't
That is
really
true.
have.
We have no rain. We have no rain here, so it's coming from somewhere else.
You know where that's coming from. Yeah. I don't
People
really.
just wash their hands in the sink like this.
Yeah.
This conversation is denigrating.
Yeah. See, we officially met. You officially made our episodes potty talk, and that's never happened.
Hey, man.
Yeah. Okay.
We gotta
I'm
talk about the things behind the scenes.
That's right. Okay, I've got one last article. I'm going to make this real quick. I loved the headline on this. Maybe some of you have heard about this, but this happened down in Australia of South Wales, New South Wales to be more specific. And the article on this one was titled "Husband Attacks Great White Shark That Bit His Wife." And basically what happened is, a husband and wife were out surfing, and, a shark attacked the wife, and the husband jumped off his board, landed on her board, and punched the shark in the face until it let go. And basically they got her to the hospital, and even though she had a bite, she survived and everything was fantastic. And all I could think after that was if they ever have an argument again, I'd be like, but I punched a shark out for you. Yeah.
That is a great point.
Yeah.
And they
That's
say
a-
chivalry is dead.
Yeah. Right.
That is a great story.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Because
I
I
love
know
that.
a lot of people will be like, it's too late for you. The shark's got you. And they're just paddling off to safety.
We have insurance.
Yeah.
Talking about sharks, people not talking about me again. Asked me what the scariest movie I've ever seen was, and actually one of them is Jaws. Just I was born in New York City, but we spent time on the coast, and just like the coast in Jaws, that movie just scared the fucking hell out of me. It's just like, oh my God! And we just saw it again at my manager's house, and it's still scary. But boy, when I was a kid, that thing just scared me.
It's funny. We had Joe Alves on the show, the man who created the shark from Jaws, and it was
my God.
He was super fun. Great stories about it. I would say that I don't think Jaws was ever those things that I would say, oh, it was such a scary movie. It scared me. But at the same time, I hated swimming ever since then. Like, I saw it and I'm just like, I go out into like, I remember we were in Florida and I was swimming in the ocean. I enjoyed it. And then I had that moment, I was like, hey, wait a minute, there's sharks in this thing. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to get out now.
So if it didn't scare you, at least it stayed with you.
It definitely stuck with me. Yep, for sure. So.
And that's the biggest compliment of all.
Right. It's true.
Speaking of stayed with you, that actually leads me into one of the questions I have specifically for you. So I want to kick this off because when I was growing up, so I was born in 87. So when I was growing up, The Exorcist was like the only horror movie, and my family were all horror buffs, that I was not allowed to watch. And I know that I'm not alone in that. So I have to ask you, as a fan of the genre and you being in that very involved in that genre, that must feel pretty awesome, that you were part of that.
Oh, it does. And not only that, but I mean, it's obviously totally changed my life. Eventually, it didn't happen right away, but so I do horror conventions. I've never done one in Canada. You guys got to get in touch with the Rue Morgue or whatever
Definitely.
the other ones are.
Yeah, the Fan Expo up here. Yeah.
I shot a movie in Vancouver Island. Anyway, it's afforded me doing. I've been to the UK many times doing shows. Shot a movie in Birmingham. I've been all over the world and in at least 30 states here, just doing conventions. And of course, it opened me up to shooting many, many indie films, horror films, which people ask me, do you ever want to do anything else? And I go, no. I like doing horror films. I get to play demons and witches and one vampire and zombies. And then sometimes I play victims, but I like scaring people. I like making people react, whether it's out of fear or love or crying or whatever it is. I think, to digress a little, it's one of an actress's jobs, or a writer's job really, is to be so identifiable that people in the audience can identify with you, which is what the genius of Dick Smith, the makeup icon on The Exorcist, did by creating the demon and thus Reagan as someone you could relate to. And the first makeup tests were like big eyebrows and fake teeth and hair, you know what I mean? Yeah. And, it was like, oh, okay, another horror person. But he did it with just the scars, which still was 3.5 hours makeup, but, the scars and scratches and sometimes contacts and stuff like that. So that when people walked into when the audience saw the mom and the priest and everybody walk into the room and saw this thing, the audience can go, oh my God, that could be my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also kids can go, oh my God, that could be me. And I think that's one of the very, very important reasons why The Exorcist is still the film it is today, that people still are scared by it. And it's not some, like monster out there that it looks like it could be their kid or themselves.
And it's very interesting because
I digressed a little.
It's very interesting because, we were chatting before you arrived, and I was asking Matty G about the effects for such a movie back in the 70s. it's just like they didn't have, like, it was groundbreaking in the way that the way they did the makeup. And even though it was simplistic, like you'd said, with cuts and scars and everything, it looked so good, and it was actually quite frightening. And it's true when you first see the mom walk in, and you know, she's Regan's transformed now into the demon. It's scary. It's like one of those things, or even the simple of making it look like her head's turning straight around, and it was groundbreaking.
That's a funny
so really
story
good.
about that. Do you want to hear it?
Of course we
Yeah,
do.
absolutely.
Yep.
And also, we'll talk about my book later because
Yes. We
it
can't wait to hear.
goes into much better detail, much fuller detail. And I sent Anthony a book. Maddie, I'm sure you can borrow it. But,
Yes.
you know, Billy Friedkin didn't trust his actors that much, shall we say. So when I think it's Mom, Kitty Wynn, and the doctor kind of walk into the room, and that's me on the bed,
Yeah.
they shot off a gun. So the first time it was like really scary, right? For them, like, you know, oh my God, what was that? The second time it wasn't quite as scary. By the fourth time it was like, oh fuck. But that's one of the things like I write about in my book. And other times I tried to write funny stuff because a lot of people know the horror stuff, but I tried to write a lot of funny stuff that happened on the set.
So I have to ask you, since you've mentioned it, and I don't know if you go into it in the book, so I do look forward to reading that, but there was a lot of talk about some really crazy things that happened on set, some very frightening things to a lot of people. And is there, did you notice, or is there any kind of like truth to some of those rumors?
It's a hard question, you know, because things happen on sets, you know, like they had a fire.
Yep.
And people die. You know, it took 14 months to shoot that movie, from pre-production to post-production.
Wow.
Now they shoot films in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that you don't really know. You know, things did definitely happen. And there's a wonderful show on the streaming thing called Shudder.
Okay, yes.
It's called Cursed. And it talks about, apparently, my segment was really good. So I've been told. I mean, I've actually got as much positive reaction from doing that show as I have from practically anything I've ever done.
Wow.
But and they, you know, they talk about The Omen,
Yes.
and definitely Poltergeist. I mean, because they just had horrible things. 3 people died after that movie.
Yeah.
And they said they shot it over an old Indian graveyard. So, you know, those are the kind of things that it's like dying. Nobody really knows where you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The person who finds out is going to be a genius.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those things that you could really speculate. I wasn't with somebody when, you know, like the electrical fire happened or when people died.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually interesting now, just because you brought up the Poltergeist. Was it actually shot on an Indian burial ground? Like, it wasn't just part of the storyline that the house was built on an Indian burial ground. They actually shot it there?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't there. I do know Jo Beth Williams, who did the lead. And when I shot Guiding Light, she was on it. We went to the Bahamas. Can you imagine?
Oh, that's nice.
Working on a soap opera and going to the Bahamas.
That's crazy.
And then I drowned scuba diving. But
wow.
I digress. Yeah, it was. I knew I was going to drown scuba diving before I got there. So
and you still went.
My lifetime on Guiding Light was short. Yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't real, Anthony. It wasn't real. It wasn't real.
Gotcha.
But I did have to go down there a couple days early and learn how to scuba dive. Poor Eileen. And I'll never forget the woman that taught us. She said, "You don't have to take this dive if you don't want to." And I looked at her and I went, "Yeah, want to bet?"
That's really funny.
Talking about sharks.
Yeah, right? Everything comes back to sharks.
I don't think there were any sharks. I don't know if there were any sharks down there, but I guess I don't.
Lost
I didn't see any.
stingrays, maybe. You see some stingrays?
Yeah. I also, believe this or not, of course you will. I shot a show in Turks and Caicos,
Oh, nice.
and which was amazing, on a little island called Grand Turk Island. And they invited my husband to come down for a week, and he was allowed to go scuba diving. The insurance policy wouldn't let me. So he did. He swam with the sharks and stingrays.
Oh, that's exciting.
That's amazing.
That's like a bucket list. Most people want to do that
I
once
can see
before.
you doing a Snoopy dance. I can see you just thrilled with it.
Yep.
Hey, I want to go to the Cayman
Oh,
Islands.
yeah.
Yeah.
Snore,
I think that'd be a
snore.
blast.
Yeah. No.
But I did get in that I shot a show in Turks and Caicos.
Yeah. I'd just love to go to Turks and Caicos. So.
It was wonderful. And this was, like I said, it was a little island called Grand Turk Island, where they had to bring in, the only thing they had on that island were banks. No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Probably a lot of money hidden there.
That's right.
But they had to import everything and bring in there. But I had a place on the beach, and it was incredible.
Beautiful.
And I played a character that was an apparition from the 60s. That didn't have one eye, but I got to wear one of those big antebellum dresses and stuff.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
the fun of being an actor, the perks of being an actor.
Yes.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Well, you've done so much stuff outside of horror too. Like, is horror still your favorite go-to genre, or do you find that, like, do you enjoy doing the other stuff, the more dramatic stuff, as much? No.
No.
And that's perfectly good. I'm okay with that answer as
Yeah.
a horror fan.
I played a therapist in a film called Shattered. Boring. You know, and other stuff that I can't even remember. No, I love doing horror, and I would just do horror, and I just did a podcast, so stop me if I said, did I say this before?
Nope.
That I played demons and witches and zombies. And,
Yes. Yeah, I was going to ask you about your part in. So you played one of the kind of the zombie-ish creatures in Constantine, correct?
I did. And it's a great face and a great thing, but unfortunately it was shot for the opening credits, and they didn't have any opening credits. So I do sell that picture because it's so brilliant. The zombie makeup, and I thought I should say it was from The Walking Dead.
That's cool.
Okay.
But no,
Yeah.
right? Buy my picture from The Walking Dead.
That's crazy.
The thought just went through my brain. Yeah, it was kind of sad, but the experience of shooting it with Keanu Reeves was amazing. Keanu Reeves got to be one of the nicest people that you ever want to work with.
I've heard he is a wonderful person and just a very down-to-earth person.
Yeah, he was doing a band show at a theater in Hollywood, and I was there, backstage type thing at the theater, and he remembered me. And, there were a gazillion characters in Constantine. But he said, "How are you?" I said, You remember me?" And he said, "Yeah, we shot at the Santa Monica Pier." And I said, "Yeah, that was me."
Wow. That's amazing. So.
No, I've been really lucky. I mean, I got to work with, Tony Perkins in a play called Steam Bath with Rob Zombie.
Yep.
I did a show with Sam Waterston. I mean, I've gotten the chance to work with absolutely very, very wonderful people.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the greats.
It was Rob Zombie that did Devil's Rejects, wasn't it?
Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses, and I did Halloween 2 with him.
Yes, I was going to
Very
say
cool.
the Halloween tune was with Rob. Yeah, it's a lot of beautiful, new movies that are coming out, and a lot of them are, of course, the Halloween classics that you've been so fortunate to actually have a hand in so many of them, which is has got to be wonderful because you get a lot of people who've been in maybe one or two of the big ones, but you've just kind of been somewhere in all of these classics now, and you're becoming like that the name in Halloween horror movies.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I've done so much makeup stuff.
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I've done so much makeup stuff. I always thought they should call me the Lon Chaney, makeup.
Yeah.
My mother always said, "Aren't you ever going to play yourself?" show your face. Helter Skelter was also one of my very favorite projects.
Yeah.
So I showed my face there, but my face was very dirty.
Yeah. We got
I was one of the Manson gang.
Yeah, we got to see, and of course, the Ascent, and luckily it was one that you were not a demon or being killed in. So
yeah, they wouldn't let me play the monster in that. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I'm surprised. It was it was quite a good movie. I actually didn't see, obviously no spoilers out there, but I actually probably should have guessed where that ending was going, and I didn't actually right up till the end. So it was quite a neat twist.
Perry Teo
Yes,
directed that. We should give him some credit.
Yes,
Perry Teo is an absolutely amazing director. I worked with him before on a film that will never be released called Pale Horse.
Oh, okay.
And we won't go into that.
Yeah.
But no, Perry's a great guy, and he's generous and wonderful and loyal and all that kind of stuff. So any people out there, if you see a film by Perry Teo, absolutely go see it.
Go watch it. Yeah. Shout out to Perry Teo.
Now, have you ever had a chance at a role that you didn't get, that you thought you would have just crushed it?
No, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But then it comes down to I don't look that old. I don't think.
No,
but I do audition for a lot of grandmothers, and sometimes I think I just don't look old enough, for them. That's always the thing about casting, that once you've auditioned. Thomas is playing with my Exorcist doll. I gotta show you this thing. This thing walks and talks and says three lines from The Exorcist.
Really?
So that happens a lot, and if you audition a lot, you don't do it, but you got to leave it behind and say, "Wow, I did the best job I could." They hired someone who was taller, who was shorter, who was bigger, who was fatter. Look old. It goes on. And now we do a lot of self-taped auditions, especially during COVID. And in fact, one just came in today. So in answer to your question, absolutely yes. The good news, now they're mostly indies and you never see them.
Yeah, but indies are making a big...
a lot of indies.
Yeah, they're making a big show.
I think it's wonderful. It's just that they shoot so many, and some of them just never get out of
Mm-hmm.
post-production. They just run out of money, or they're doing, GoFundMe kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was going to ask you, you have so many upcoming titles listed on your IMDb. Is a lot of that actually started production yet, or is it kind of all waiting, given the fact that there's so much still kind of waiting to open up due to COVID?
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm the devil. Now kindly undo these straps.
So awesome.
That's
That
awesome.
head looks bigger than mine.
Yeah.
The upcoming things, unfortunately or fortunately, some of them are so old and will never happen, and IMDb doesn't take them down. But a lot of them are definitely happening. I just finished shooting a movie called Halloween. Not Halloween, that was that one. Showed Clown Motel 2, To Death Do Its Heart. We went to Boulder, Nevada. It's the only time I've been out of the house, seriously, during this COVID thing. I'm absolutely serious. And decided to do it anyway. We had a GoFundMe, a Kickstarter account on that was very successful. And there'll probably be more, and you can go get some perks for some Exorcist stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I just did a film called Compatible, which was about a dating app gone wrong. And the interesting thing about that is that the people on the app can watch the people who are dating and decide if the guy was worth dating or not. It goes terribly wrong. My daughter's on the app. And so we did that. And our Kickstarter things are really good.
Yeah.
If you see something, you should at least check it out. And I'm really excited. I'm shooting another movie called I swear, I just got green. Another movie called The Bleeding Dark in 2 weeks.
Yes,
And
I've heard about this.
Clown Motel 2 had 45 people going in and out during the shooting. This one, the cast is only 7 people, I think, and a very small crew. But it's about a home invasion gone terribly wrong, and nobody ever tells what happens to the people after a home invasion. Nor murders or kidnappings or stuff like that. So this is about what happens to the husband and the son after his wife is killed. And the husband can't even go out of the house. He's so agoraphobic. And he sees his wife as a ghost and stuff. And the son thinks his wife is walking. It's a really, really good thriller. And I actually play the aunt in that one. But she's kind of a bitch.
We just get to see every side of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in Clown Motel 2, I had a great time. I played the Queen of the Clowns with this great makeup on. And she was royal and regal and bitchy. And one scene, she's also very vulnerable. So that was really fun. That's going to be a really fun movie. And I think it's going to be even better than Clown Motel 1, which is done really, really well.
That's awesome.
Awesome. I gotta check that out.
That's definitely a horror movie for me because I'm not a big clown fan.
I think both of them. I think, you know what?
I said I'm not
you're saying Tony and I both hate clowns, so we were going to watch that movie.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of clowns? Why?
I think it was just I watched it when I was really young.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, not so much now, but when I was a kid, that was like one of the very first scary movies I ever watched.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with me. It was absolutely frightening.
Were you scared by it? Did you watch it?
That's what I was saying.
I watched the newest one as well. It took me a lot to actually watch the new one, knowing that the first one scared the living crap out of me. And Tim Curry was actually even Tim Curry without the makeup. When I saw him in other stuff do that weird grin of his, I was just like, "Whoa, a clown!"
Dude, Home Alone 2.
Yes, yeah, he does that look.
I'm like, it's him.
Yeah,
I don't think It 1 and It 2 is all that good. there's a lot of things. I'd just rather go back to the originals.
Yeah.
Like Halloween, and I shot Halloween 2.
Yeah.
But, the classics are classics because they're classics.
What did you think of the new Pet Cemetery?
I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it?
Yeah, I've actually yet to see it as well.
I don't like to see films about little kids that get killed.
That was the difference,
like
right?
Creepshow, but I think
I find that with horror movies, when we were younger, it was really interesting because all of like the Nightmare on Elm Streets and the Halloweens and everything, there was always this unwritten rule that kids did not get killed. So when eventually you see that first movie where they actually kill a kid, I was just like, no, there's no safe ground. Like there was like all bets were off. There was no one safe anymore. And it was a real.
Oh, Stephen King loves that. Yeah, Stephen King loves to kill kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I think secretly he hates
children.
children.
He didn't kill the little boy. I'm surprised he didn't kill the little boy in The Shining.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they changed the ending from the book in Cujo. In the book,
Really?
the little boy gets killed.
That's right. He does.
I loved Dr. Sleep though.
Yeah.
The sequel to Dr. Sleep.
Oh, yeah, I just saw that. That was good.
I thought it was really well done, and the tie-ins to The Shining, and I don't know, we really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, we saw Mr. Mercedes, and obviously we've been home, and I think we have much more of a problem than Canada does. An extraordinarily big problem here. So we did streaming things like practically never seen before.
Yeah.
What was the other? There was another. I can't think of the name of it, but it was 2 big seasons from it, and the first one I didn't like so much, but the second one I really liked. They picked up on Misery.
Oh, okay.
I can't think of the name of it. I want to say Kickstarter, and it's not Kickstarter.
Yeah, there's Indiegogo and GoFundMe's and all these different.
Anyway, I'm not a big fan of sequels and reboots.
Yeah.
You know, I think people, if they really, you know, and the only thing that keeps them going is because people go see them opening weekend, and they shoot them for very little money. And by opening weekend, because of name recognition, they've made their money back. And so if the fans don't support it, then they would, the studios, of course, I'm talking about, they would do more and more films like indie films and James Wan films.
Yeah. So
Conjuring and Insidious.
Yeah.
I mean, look what happened with James Wan, because he did those movies, and they're good.
yes.
They're really good.
Yeah. Some of them are
The
a
Conjuring,
very
I really
good.
like. Some of the spin-offs are a little
throwbacks.
campy.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, sometimes a
We should
good old
talk about-
campy horror film is a good horror film. Like I love watching some of the campy ones.
Like what?
What was one of the ones? Well, you look at things like Monster Squad and some of those older. They're just kind of fun
Critters.
horrors.
Remember
Critters, yeah, Critters and Ghoulies. All
Yeah.
very campy
Oh
versions.
those are great. I'm talking about. I'm just talking about reboots and sequels.
Yeah. No,
Some of those old. Listen, go watch the '50s sci-fi films. They're great.
Oh, yeah.
Day of the Triffids.
yes.
The Day the Earth Caught Fire.
Yep.
Yeah. You know,
The Day the Earth Stood
obviously,
Still. Although we're
the Day which I thought I thought the remake was terrible, but
Yes.
the original is just so amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It wasn't fully horror, but I remember watching. I love the movie, the Tremors movies. Remember those with the graboids?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That was kind of horror in a weird way.
Yeah, it was very
It was
See,
definitely
in my book. I separate horror from thrillers, because horror, especially today, and bad horror, is just all about, let's see how many people we can kill, let's see how much blood we can use, how much stuff like that. But thrillers, and you'd have to reclassify really The Exorcist as a thriller. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is on the edge. Even Halloween, there's not that much blood and guts. It's a thriller. Like you said, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep.
Though I have to classify them as thrillers. So you can classify Tremors as a thriller. I'll let you do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Now I have to ask you, what is the scariest movie that you've seen, say, in the last 5 years? Is there anything that just really stood out to you?
I can tell you the first two horror movies that scared me.
Yeah.
Psycho was the first horror movie I ever saw.
Okay.
And of course that scared me. I didn't want to take a shower for a long time, but I had to.
Bates Motel.
And
Yep.
then it was Night of the Living Dead, and I saw that in a theater in New York. And I walked home alone because my boyfriend was doing something, and I thought zombies were coming out of every post, every traffic thing, every waste paper basket. I mean, everything. But I don't know. You asked me what scares me. I don't know they scare me, but I can tell you things that I'm fascinated by. I mean, I love Conjuring, the first one.
Yeah.
And I liked Insidious a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are good.
So I like the George Romero. Not George Romero. I love all the George Romero's films, by the way.
Classic zombies.
Rob Zombie's film, Salem something. It just went out of my head. But as far as actually being scared, I know I've been scared because I remember putting my hands over my eyes, watching something, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Damn, it was something I saw recently.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Oh, actually, well, now I'm going to have to think of the name of it. Thomas Churchill did an anthology of 3 horror films, 3 horror things, and there were 3 of them, and that one of them really scared me. I kept saying, but what about the baby? What about the baby?
Oh.
Thomas Churchill did really good films.
Yeah. Actually, we have Thomas slated for later this month.
Oh, Thomas, baby, go away. I just did a film for him called Amityville Harvest.
Yes.
And you got to go see that and see what happens to me at the end. It's kind of horrific.
Excellent. Yeah.
We have to mention 100 Acres of Hell. Stacy Toy is the one who introduced me to you.
Yes, it's wonderful. And she was a fantastic guest on our show a few months back, actually. And I was going to ask you about 100 Acres of Hell. That's another one that has come out just recently as well for you. And I think we have a few other guests coming up that also are from other horror genres that are on 100 Acres of Hell.
Probably
So.
Stacy told them all to call you.
Yeah, there's a few people, but
She's
she's a hoot.
she's so fun.
she's almost like my sister, and
Yeah.
she's so successful.
Yeah.
And she's so out there, and she's so loyal. Yeah, I haven't seen her in a long time. She comes out here for the Grammys, but we've never been able to catch up with each other. But I met her when I did 100 Acres of Hell.
Oh, nice.
I think she's promoting. She's trying to get the F word going. I actually just messaged her the other day because I was seeing where the copy of that was because I wanted to check it out. The movie that she's working on, it's called The F Word.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw it.
I don't know.
It's really interesting. It's about a teacher who gets into cross-dressing and how his life starts to unfold when people find out. And it was made as a joke, but then he realizes that
He gets into what?
cross-dressing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very dramatic, but it looks great. So
Yeah.
Talk about newspaper headlines. Did you see the headline about a school teacher that has tattoos all over his face?
Yes.
I
And his
did
body.
see that. Yeah.
He wondered why he got fired.
So
Well,
I guess what gets me
that's-
about that whole article, and I do actually sympathize with him in the way that he was hired. He had tattoos when he was hired. He didn't have black eyes when he was hired, but he did have the tattoos. So to not say something or reprimand him and then just fire him after he gets his eyes tattooed black, is, I think, against a human rights thing. At least up here in Canada, it is for sure. But
I agree, but they probably held their breath and said something. Okay, we're going to let this go, but don't do anything else. We're gonna go with this. And maybe the guy just defied them and got black eyes.
Apparently, the only reason they fired him was because the child said that he was having nightmares because of his teacher. Now, he was also a kindergarten teacher. So if you look at this guy, there is no real estate left on his body that is not covered in tattoos. And then on top of that, he's had the whites of his eyes basically blacked out with a special tattoo ink. So he kind of looks like a demon. And, no wonder why there are, if I basically saw that at the age of 5 years old, I probably would crap my pants in the middle of the night too.
If I saw it at 20, I could feel the same way.
It's an optics thing too. I think, a lot of parents, are against, still to the day are against tattoos and stuff like that. So they see an educated person that's educating their child and they think that there's always going to be that transfer of, from a position of authority where kids want to mock or mimic and stuff like that, right? So
that's true. I've always had a thing about tattoos. I've always thought you do one or two little ones, but anyway, they say it's addictive.
Yeah, I've never found it as an addictive thing, but I definitely I do see the
a lot
allure
of
in
people have Pazuzu. They got Pazuzu on their legs and their arms. And
now I find that really strange because and it's so funny that we have made mention of the demon character that you've played, but the actual name Pazuzu hadn't been passed around, and it's I think because there are for as many people who have tattoos of it, there is probably just as many of people saying don't ever say the name itself. There's some type of superstition behind people actually uttering the words Pazuzu.
I have never heard that.
Really? Yeah. No, there's a bunch of people out there who don't ever say his name. It's it's almost like the Candyman, you don't say it. Yeah.
Oh, they've done that with Macbeth forever. You can't say the word in theater or the show won't go on.
Really? I didn't know
that. It's very
one.
interesting.
Yes.
You have to say the Scottish show.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So let's quickly talk about your book before you go. You have put out a book.
Can I talk about my little store?
Yes, of course.
Sure.
Please. This is a great time to let our listeners know about all things you.
Okay, well, first of all, if any of you people out there want to get anything from me, the best thing to do is talking about chats, is come to my chat on Facebook, and we'll talk about the details and price, or you're allowed to email me at eileen@eileendietz.com. So we talked about my book,
Yes.
which is here, and I sent one to Anthony, and I'll try and be brief about it. The beginning of the book is about dreams and not giving up your dreams, no matter what people say, because everybody put me down for being an actress. I was little. I'm still kind of little, I guess. But I was very small and flat-chested, and I had buck teeth. And they said, oh, you're not pretty enough, you're not sexy enough, there's too many, blah, blah, blah. And I obviously persevered anyway and did. So don't talk about it a lot. If you want to open a costume shop or a bakery or have kids, go for it. So that's what the first part about it. And then we go into how that little girl became an actress. And the book was written with a guy named Dan Louvier, and it'll make you cry, it'll make you laugh. First professional job I had was like the Me Too thing out here in the United States, where the guy brought me all the way to Michigan for one reason. Or I went to see Peter Pan when I was a kid. Did I talk about that?
I don't think so, no.
Just briefly, you mentioned Peter Pan.
That, and, there are all kinds of stories. And then I go into The Exorcist, and you'll learn anything you want to know about the film, but I try to concentrate on a lot of funny stuff, because we know about the horror stuff. Yeah. So there's a lot of very funny things that happened on the set that I'm not going to tell you about now, but they're really, really very funny, obviously.
You need to get the book to find out.
I talk about the audition, how I got the audition, about the screen test, about meeting Dick Smith and all that kind of stuff. And the end is the ending is old now, but things that just happened recently. So that's that. We showed you the doll.
Yes. Oh,
Pazuzu!
You've got Pazuzu statue as well.
Yeah, it's fabulous. Some people say that they're like gargoyles and they'll protect your house. Pazuzu is a fallen angel. And so this is for sale. Pazuzu, it is 12 inches tall and it's made of resin. But everybody needs one of those. And I don't have it. I don't have to hear
groin areas. Pazuzu packing or what?
I think Pazuzu's packing.
What?
I said, what's that near his groin areas? Pazuzu packing or what?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. I do know that.
Yep. It is anatomically correct, Pazuzu.
That's a snake.
Oh no! Oh.
And I don't have the picture in front of me, but I have a picture of me going. You see the back, and I'm on my knees, and you see Pazuzu in the background.
Yes,
and he has a snake. Or I keep saying he. It's not
it. Yes,
yeah, not a she. And just quickly added to that, I have a whole slew of pictures. If you go on Facebook, you'll see it. My website's going to go up in a week or two, which is eileendietz.com. And I sell the Exorcist script, the original script from the show. And you can sit in your living room and read all the parts. It's really fun.
That's awesome.
And I have an Exorcist beanie and pins and greeting cards and all that kind of stuff.
Very cool.
So that's how you get in touch.
I just picture me buying the script and then my kids getting home from school and me and my wife are acting out the Linda Blair scenes from The Exorcist. What the fuck, Mom and Dad?
And I did. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, and very quickly, I really want to say that I just finished shooting Clown Motel 2, which is better than Clown Motel 1. I think it's just a really fun, scary, humorous film. And I'm going to go in 2 weeks to shoot a film called The Bloody Night, which is great. It's a very small thriller, horror film about what happens after a home invasion, where the father feels responsible for his wife being killed and he becomes acrophobic. He can't leave the house because if he does, he just sees ghosts of his dead wife, and the kid thinks that the mother is still running around. I play the aunt, who's kind of a real bitch. And says, get off it! Come out of the house! People like that.
Yeah.
And say, let it go! And stuff like that. And then bad things happen to me. And I have a couple films that are going to come out before Halloween. One was Thomas Churchill's Amityville Harvest.
Very cool.
And when you see the end of the film, you'll see what happens to me in that one, because it's kind of really. And this other thing, Dark Offerings, which was the first film, I think, we shot it all following safety precautions. So everybody was in their houses and, did a lot of self-tapes and stuff like that. And it's kind of cool. It's about this woman's brother who's possessed. And the only way he can get unpossessed, is that a word? There's a word for you, unpossessed.
Unpossessed.
Is to infect 6 other people. So she calls a reunion, a Zoom, and it's very bloody and stuff like that. So that's really fun, and that's coming out.
A real life chain letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I thought it was a brilliant idea that you could do, that would make sense to do during the pandemic. You know what I mean? So it's called Dark Offerings. And I always have to mention my friends. They're called Fuzz on the Lens, and they're my brother, and they did a comedy horror film called Abnormal Attractions. And it's about these monsters, every monster you can think of, like Yetta and Bigfoot and all those people that live in this town with the people. And the racist part of it is that the monsters hate the people and the people hate the monsters. And Abnormal Attraction is a therapy group for people to not like the monsters. And it's very funny. And
that sounds awesome.
That sounds really cool.
And it's called Abnormal Attraction.
Very cool. Very cool.
And I'm sure there's others there, but I can't think of it. I'd have to look at my IMDb and go, oh shit, I forgot that one.
Oh yeah.
Well, for all our listeners.
My goodness, I work so much that I just can't possibly. I mean, I hate it.
Oh, you Hollywood types.
I know. You said, hello, how are you? And they go through all their credits. I said, I didn't ask you about your credits. I asked you how you were. But this is an iPod. This is a podcast, so it doesn't count.
That's right. Well,
I was quiet about myself for a long time.
Yeah. I was going
the whole beginning, I got you guys quiet and stunned. But the whole beginning of the show, it was fun. I loved it.
Good.
I loved it.
Good, wonderful.
Did we finish the one-word questions?
We did get through our questions. Yep, which is fantastic.
You answered the most important one, which was the last one.
That's right.
So. That's right.
Matt's just leading up all the other stuff. He doesn't pay attention. Yeah.
So what?
I was saying that
I was
Matt
talking over you.
Yeah, Matt was just leading everybody up to the last one, and I think he loses attention after a while. No, I'm just teasing. Matt's always fantastic with his jokes.
What's wrong with that?
I want you, everybody, to go vote and to wear a mask, okay?
No, I'm voting, and I'm not even American.
That's right. Matt won't be able to sleep unless he votes.
Yeah, must vote.
God, that might be one of Trumpster's fraud. Can't vote by mail. Fraud.
That's right.
Of course, we've been voting by mail since the 1950s, and there's no fraud. And he's been voting by mail, and he won in 2016. So, what about the fraud there, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, go vote.
Yeah.
Go vote.
I know it's true.
And I promise not
please, people vote.
I'm not saying who you should vote for. Do your research, watch things if you watch the debate, but please go vote and vote for senators. And please wear a mask. They say it's the only thing that's going to help us right now. Yeah. And like I said, somehow Canada, I'm not sure what Canada did. Did they lock down? Did people wear masks? I know people have great medical care. I mean, there's people here that can't even afford to go to the doctor.
Well, we didn't get rid of
those things very quickly.
We also didn't get rid of our World Health Organization professionals either. So we were kind of on top of things and listened to them.
We're like, we might need these folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
My sister lives on Vancouver Island. Actually, she writes comedy mysteries. You should have her on the show if it's not all horror.
That's very cool. Yes.
She lives in Island, she's written 18 crime mystery comedies. They're all very funny. There's
Very
one,
cool.
Throw Darts at a Cheesecake. It's about a Weight Watchers group, and everybody gets killed when they reach their goals in their weight, and they got 2 nuns in there, and they got, people like that. They're very funny books.
That's
One
awesome.
Sounds great.
That is awesome. Yeah.
I'm going to email you. I will tell you her information.
Yeah, that'd be
she
wonderful.
She talks more than I do.
Yeah.
Cool.
You really have to interrupt her, because I found out that most writers tend to talk a lot, and everything's descriptive. It's
It's the
not like I
internal
got
voice, right?
Yeah.
It comes out.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not like I got on an airplane and flew to Canada. It's like I got on an airplane. I was sitting next to this man. He was snoring. He was fat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's all, But my sister's great. And
Wonderful.
I also have to put a plug in for my manager, Chris Rowe. And he's been to Canada. He handled George Romero, which, by the way, everybody who's interested in horror should look up all of George Romero's films.
Yes.
The scariest movie I ever saw when I was a kid was Night of the Living Dead.
Yep.
And his newer ones. He lived in Canada before he passed last year.
Yes, it's true.
Did you know that?
Yep. Yeah, there was always the rumors that's been around.
Arrival of the Dead and Diary of the Dead are really good movies. They didn't do that well, but everyone during the pandemic. So Chris handles Malcolm McDowell. He handled George Romero, people like that, and he's a great guy. And my career was stalled, and he found me actually through Dee Wallace, and he found me, and the rest, as they say, is history. So I'm giving a shout out to Chris Rowe.
Wonderful. Well, that is amazing. So
and he can have some of that money too.
Yeah, for sure.
How much was it? $100 million?
The 100 million. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
Yeah.
That is great.
He's got some real cool projects he'd like to shoot, so I'll just back all his projects. Can we make that happen, Maddie?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
That's amazing. Well, Eileen, I super appreciate you spending some time with us. We will, for our listeners that are going to be out there, make sure that we post up Eileen on our guest section of our website, as well as her social media links and how to get to her books, and also to her website when it comes up. So look out for that. So if you are listening to this episode,
and it's like an infomercial commercial.
That's right.
You can get my book. Not only that, but you can get a free pen. Only here.
Only
Not on
here.
Amazon.
Yes.
No, actually, you can't get it on Amazon, but don't get it on Amazon because you won't get an autograph. But
That's right.
Anyway, you guys, you have been great. I really had a really good time. This was really fun.
Thank you very much, Eileen. We super appreciated you coming on the show, and we'll have to try to follow up with you and have you back again sometime soon.
Everybody stay healthy and smart and all that kind of stuff, and enjoy horror. Go to all the websites. I can do an Eileen Dietz night if you want.
That'd be fun.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Bye.
Thanks again, Eileen. Take care.
So this is a good time for us to pitch our social media. You could get us on our website,
TheFAP.ca
on Twitter.
is the FAP4,
You can get us on Instagram.
is the FAP Podcast,
Don't forget our Facebook.
the Freaking Awesome Podcast,
And you can always reach out via email.
the FAP Podcast at gmail.com.
I'm on the air, we got this podcast.
Not again.
Wicked sweet.